All right, guys, so let me give you some updates on what's currently happening in Gaza. Let's start with this Haaretz article here, because this is really interesting. Saying what can't be said, Israel has been defeated. A total defeat. The war's aims won't be achieved, the hostages won't be returned through military pressure, security won't be restored, and Israel's international ostracism won't end. Damn. So this is Haaretz, a top publication in Israel, saying this. Look, I don't fully agree, because it depends on what you think the aims are. If the aim is an ethnic cleansing and genocide, well, that seems to be chugging along just fine, right? But the point where I might agree is, look, Israel has gone so far in so many ways that they really do risk total international ostracism. And if that comes about, then we really are looking at a South Africa type situation, because that's effectively what led to the end of apartheid, is that South Africa became totally internationally ostracized. And when you have, like, almost every country on the planet saying, we're no longer going to trade with you, like, you're a pariah state, then the choices faced by Israel are like, do we become like North Korea, or do we address the elephant in the room and basically have to change course, have to treat Palestinians with more humanity and dignity and respect? And we've already seen this. The Gulf Arab states, for example, they were all in the process of totally normalizing relations with Israel and putting a middle finger up to the Palestinians. And now, because of Israel's actions, a lot of these states have turned around and done a 180 and said, now we're only going to recognize Israel and normalize relations with them if there is a Palestinian state and if there is some diplomatic solution. So, I mean, it's an interesting perspective. I think it's true that they risk losing in the sense that they're totally internationally ostracized. But in terms of their actual goals, what I would tell this guy is it's not really one of the top goals to return all the hostages. It's not. They say it is, but it's not. The real goal is an ethnic cleansing and genocide. And some of the far-right ministers in Israel are the most honest about that. And they say, no, we want to resettle Gaza, and we want that land, and we want to push the Palestinians out and have them set up a tent city in the Sinai Desert. That's what we want. So, but interesting that this is now the conversation that's happening. So we also have this. This is devastating. So Mohammed El Saif says the following: the return of the displaced from the southern Gaza Strip to the northern Gaza Strip, but the Israeli army returned them all. So I'm not going to play the video here, but basically these people were in South Gaza trying to go back to North Gaza. The IDF turns them around and makes them go back to South Gaza, to Rafah. Well, the reason why there's a number of reasons why that's problematic, but the biggest one, of course, is Israel keeps broadcasting, we're going to do an operation in Rafah. So all these people are trying to escape near certain death, and the IDF is turning them back around to near certain death. Ryan Grimm says here, IDF blocking people from returning to their homes in the north, even as they prepare an invasion of Rafah in the south. So this is example number 4,312, that what we're looking at here is an ethnic cleansing and a genocide. Is it finally going to break through? Is everybody going to acknowledge it? What I've learned is it literally doesn't matter what the facts on the ground are. There's going to be some percentage of people who won't acknowledge, at this point, the most obvious thing in the world. We're talking about over 41,000 Palestinians dead. That's, you can't even wrap your mind around that. Over 36,000 of them are innocent civilians. Over 15,000 kids. Over 9,000 women. Every kind of civilian infrastructure imaginable has been bombed. Marketplaces, mosques, church, schools, hospitals. The schools, they're doing literal controlled demolitions. They've done that to every school now is destroyed in Gaza. The northern Gaza Strip doesn't even exist anymore. So these people trying to go back to their homes, they're effectively going to try to go back to rubble, but they would feel safer next to the rubble of their homes than they would in Rafah, where they know there's about to be a total massacre. So this is what we're looking at here. And again, what's happened is with Israel attacking Iran, then Iran retaliating, now the focus has been taken off Gaza. We're talking about Israel and Iran, but there's still a genocide unfolding right in front of our eyes. Really devastating scenario. So then we also get this. CNN journalist and others wounded in IDF strike on Gaza refugee camp. Hey, journalists, you got in the way when we were trying to murder refugees. Why'd you do that? It's like, oops, we committed a war crime in the midst of trying to commit a different war crime. This is what's going on the ground. 7 journalists were among the wounded after Israeli forces struck a refugee camp in Gaza, CNN reported on Friday. Among the wounded was cameraman Sami Shahada, who works for the Turkish state broadcaster TRT as a cameraman. Shahada lost a leg in the strike on the Nusayrat refugee camp. CNN stringer Mohammed al-Sawali was also wounded in the attack. He received a hand injury from the shrapnel. Shahada claimed the targeting of him and other civilians was deliberate in video taken after his leg had been severed. Jesus Christ. We were filming in a safe place. I was wearing my flak jacket and my helmet. Even the car I was in had press and TV sign marked on it. It was clear that I was a civilian and a journalist. We were targeted, he told CNN. Now let me ask you a question. Who at this late is going to deny what this guy's saying? When we have endless video, flower massacre after flower massacre, people waving white flags getting murked, people without weapons walking alone on a dirt road getting blown up, people desperately trying to get aid getting killed. Everybody knows what this guy's saying is true. Every honest person knows that. A TRT statement also referred to a deliberate attack on media personnel. CNN reported that footage from the scene showed men, women, and children running for cover at the sound of artillery fire. The 7 journalists and an elderly man named Saleh, who was running for cover, were ultimately injured in the strike. A video published to Twitter by TRT showed Shahada speaking about the strike. Jesus Christ, man. News of the wounded reporters follows an Israeli strike killing 7 aid workers in Gaza. It never ends. It never ends. I mean, the fact that everybody's not talking about this like what it is at the moment is just maddening. It's just maddening. It makes you feel like you're in a nightmare. All right. This is wild. U.S. concerned Israel will respond to Iran without thought to potential fallout. Guys, Joe Biden, White House staffers, that is the point. They want the fallout. They want the wider war. Netanyahu has always wanted it. He wanted it under George W. Bush. He wanted it under Barack Obama. He wanted it under Donald Trump. Now he wants it under Joe Biden, and he's in the process of getting it under Joe Biden. This isn't a secret. If you familiarize yourself with the history, you know he's always wanted this war. Oh, man, they're not taking into account that maybe Iran will fight back, and then there'll be a bigger war. That's what they want. Oh, my God. Look at this. Look at this sentence. President Joe Biden has privately expressed concern that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is trying to drag the U.S. more deeply into a broader conflict, according to 3 people familiar with his comments. This person says, if you believe this may be true, then why in the ever-loving fuck are you still arming them? Yeah, by the same token, 36,000 dead civilians. Why are you still arming them? Fact of the matter is they don't care, right? It's the idea of like, our commitment to Israel's security is ironclad. That's what it is. He's stuck in some 1970s hardcore Zionist framework where Israel is always right. We're on their side 100%. Nothing they could do could shake that. And now that even applies to an ethnic cleansing and a genocide and a war with Iran, which they wanted and started on purpose. Remember, guys, just so you know, the other day there was a news report on CBS. I was watching the Masters and CBS interjected. And even they said Iran did a retaliatory strike against Israel because Israel had attacked their consulate in Syria. Even CBS News had to say, okay, yeah, this is a retaliation. This isn't them, like, starting it to start it. But apparently Joe Biden himself, weird. I'm concerned that they don't care about the fallout of this. And that they're going to react. How dumb can you be? How dumb can you be? We just talked about this in the other segment, but breaking, Israel calls for an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council over the Iranian attack. And Omar Badr says, it's strange to be Israel. You violate a mountain of UN resolutions, condemn the UN at every turn, bomb UN schools and shelters, murder UN employees, and then you demand a UN meeting over another country responding to your bombing of their consulate. It's comical. It's laughable, right? It's a giant joke. It's a giant joke is what it is. But it's also tragic and horrific and disgusting. So there you have it, guys. These are the updates. We got to keep our eye on it. Now you have double the reason to be concerned, the ethnic cleansing and the genocide in Gaza, but also now a potential massive, massive new Middle East war that Joe Biden is too senile or too dumb to put the brakes on and stop. He's just clearly in over his head. Nothing's ever been more clear. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.